Well, here to start off our AOB show, a nice Red Angus Charolais composite female out here, senior heifer calf, one that just does lots of things right. Certainly from a show heifer standpoint, having some swag and some style, but also in terms of just those fundamentals, good kind of maternal rib, great in her running gears underneath, just a nice kind, again, appropriate heifer, youthful in her head and neck, flat in her shoulder, progressively wedges the right direction. Just a really solid individual to start here in our AOB females.
And your senior heifer calf champion goes to Kyra Moore of Fountain Run, Kentucky with entry number 5378. We're now showing Class 15 early summer yearling heifers. And just a reminder to all open beef cattle exhibitors, there will be an exhibitor meeting at 11:30 in Newmarket Hall today.
Well, just a single entry here in our intermediate, a June female, young lady tells me, registered as a main Angus. One that just, again, really appropriate. Lots of things emulated in that heifer before, just in terms of like her, in terms of being really fresh, attractive up front, yet feeds into a really bold kind of center rib. I think her bone and her foot matches the kind of framework that she has up high, more than good enough as you watch her get out and go. She's maybe one that just gets a little bit more forward in the angle to her shoulder. You'd maybe like to tie her neck a little bit higher right there on the top of her shoulder, but that's just evaluating her as an individual, because I think big picture, one that could stand quite a bit more competition, a nice intermediate summer female in our AOBs.
And your intermediate champion heifer goes to Emma Hood of Springfield, Kentucky with entry number 4052. We are now showing Class 18, April Junior Yearling Heifer.
Well, just a single entry here in our April yearling class, but a really nice Scottish Highlander heifer, one that I think you just have to appreciate her, and she's just not good for her breed. I grew up showing Gelfies, so I heard a lot of just good for one of those, but this one's just really good cattle, and good purebred cattle, proportionally really well made, uniform, level in her lines, great in terms of her underpinnings as she gets out and goes. I think she's just appropriate in terms of having some genuine width, but not too much in terms of condition or design, allows her to stay inside of her skeleton. Just a really appropriately well-fit, well-presented purebred heifer as we continue through our AOBs.
Results from Class 18. First in First Kentucky goes to John Todd of Russellville, Kentucky with entry number 6589. We're now showing Class 19, March Junior Yearling Heifers.
Well, a really nice spring yearling Red Angus Shorthorn composite female out here. One that's got lots of power, lots of upgrow, probably relative to her age, is as much scale and size as any that we've seen in this particular division. Truly powerful, though, relative to her frame. She's got some substance. She's maybe one we could lean up a little bit. I'd say the same about myself most days. I think you'd actually like her in terms of how she gets out of her shoulder, maybe take a little bit of that fat out the seat of her pants. You might like how she travels behind, but probably because she's got some flesh and some doability, how she read that way. Again, not being critical, just discussing her as an individual as we think about progressively how she'll shape up, but a really nice representative for that age division.
Results from Class 19. First in First Kentucky goes to Caden Kephart of Pleasureville, Kentucky with entry number 2879. We're now showing Class 20, February Junior Yearling Heifers.
Well, just a single entry winter yearling maintainer heifer out here that the young lady brings us. One that you really have to gravitate to on the stand, just in terms of how she profiles, really ladylike, elegant in how she's built. She's one that does have some frame and some size relative to her age, but complements it with some substance, so can forgive that. Really, again, attractive, level, straight when you study her on the stand. She's one that on the go I don't think's just quite as comfortable in her skeleton. Probably young lady's got her slowed up for a reason. I think she'd look real short-strided if you just let her have her head and get out and go. I'd maybe like to relax her in her shoulder, give her a little bit more reach out of her hip. But again, one that's got some frame and some size. Again, too well fit, well fed, well presented, so makes a nice single entry class winner here in our AOB show.
Results from Class 20. First in First Kentucky goes to Micah Malone of Cynthiana, Kentucky with entry number 6963. We're now showing Class 21 January Junior Yearling Heifers.
Well, a really nice January winter yearling main female out here. Just so much brood cow power, capaciousness in this one. Love how dimensional that she is. To me, this one reads really appropriately moderate. She's sensibly sized, just really good, and you have to appreciate her for as much flesh and doability as she reads. She's really attractive, graceful, elegant in her silhouette up front. Great in terms of her center body, really out there, and I think in terms of genuine width, that's a good thing. Maybe gets outside herself a little bit behind, just as you watch her stand there or watch her travel. Again, she could be leaned up a nickel, but I'm guessing just because she's an easy flesh and easy doing, low input kind, still a really nice brood cow prospect. That I think lots of productivity, stability, and longevity in kind like that. Nice winter yearling heifer. Here's another single entry.
Results from Class 21. First in First Kentucky goes to Adele Hood of Springfield, Kentucky with entry number 4055. We're now showing for Junior Champion Female.
Well, here in our junior division of AOBs, to be expected when you get lots of different kinds and creeds and colors of cattle in this kind of catch-all division, there's going to be some variation and some variety, especially when we have the single entries. It's hard to keep with a consistent type and kind. I always think that this is a challenging division to evaluate just because you do cover lots of ends of the spectrum. I always shape it up to just like you'd pick the best of any group of cattle, though, kind of all things considered. That's why we ask them maybe how they were registered, what the influence on these cattle are, because frankly, to me, those crossbred cattle, you can paper them, register them however you want, but those that have a little bit something else in them, they're always going to have the advantage in terms of heterosis and hybrid vigor. So I'll always give a little extra credit to purebred cattle. I understand that. That's our livelihood. Our bread and butter is selling purebred bulls and females to commercial cattlemen. They don't want crossbred bulls because then you've already used up their hybrid vigor or heterosis. They want that on their commercial cattle, on their fed cattle, in their cow-calf operation. So those crossbreds, those composites, have to be just that much better. I think with that being said, you come down to those two purebred or higher percentage heifers for me, and then you just have to think, how good are they relative to their contemporaries? Because as we talk, everything's progressive, and you always want to think bigger picture. You know, had the opportunity to judge the Santa Gertrudis and the Piedmontese today, and now the AOBs, and those kind of cattle work in very different systems in very different parts of the world. The Holstein in Texas looks the same as she does in Canada. That's not true of our beef cattle outdoor production protein system. They're all meant to do something different, so they don't all have to necessarily look alike. And especially purebred cattle have their purpose. With that being said, I think one that's just really that top tier of quality relative to her contemporaries, bigger picture on a purebred industry kind of scale, and then a nice quality one to be reserved. I'll go out and show you which two I like best today, but round of applause to all the AOB exhibitors in this division.
And your junior champion female goes to John Todd of Russellville, Kentucky with entry 6589. And your reserve junior champion female goes to Adele Hood of Springfield, Kentucky with entry 4055. We are now showing for grand champion AOB female.
Well, a really nice trio here in our AOB female show, and I don't think we have a bull, maybe a cow-calf yet to evaluate, but it's really been incredibly good all the way through. Quality's been deep and would expect. At this point of what's been, I'm sure, a long state fair is kind of the last show of the day, and I know that they're all waiting in the exhibitor meeting. You're already loaded up, ready to leave. Been here, done that at the Kentucky State Fair, but appreciate the opportunity to come and evaluate all the cattle today, particularly this group of AOB females. It's always, to me, exciting and probably of anything been a nice opportunity. Wrong rider indifferent, full disclosure, been around a while, so to even see, I don't care who follows them in, but lots of the mainstays, and that's true of irregardless of, it's not just about the cattle, but we know that this is much bigger than just one particular project. Lots of times, even in these AOBs, it's generations. It's an entire program that has gotten these cattle to where they are and to look this good. For me, I think you can do a lot of things. As we say, that's what's great about the cow business. You don't have to agree with me. A lot of you probably don't, but hopefully can at least follow the bouncing ball and know that I'm always here to trade loyalty for loyalty. This is our livelihood is the cattle business, raising cattle that fit for the industry. So for me, even though this is a people, a connection business, for these 10, 15 minutes that we've evaluated this AOB show, it's still about the cattle because that's what's important. That's what makes us our money. We have to have good cattle, and then we go from there in terms of building repeat business. So great lineup. I'll show you which two I happen to like best today. Round of applause, though. Great group of AOB exhibitors.
And your grand champion AOB female at the 2024 Kentucky State Fair goes to John Todd of Russellville, Kentucky with Stewarton Oaks Farm, Isla. Your reserve goes to Kyra Moore of Fountain Run, Kentucky with Hilco Miss Carmel 2040L. Now showing Class 30 Junior Bull Calves.
Well, just a single entry out here in our AOB Bull Show, and nothing but a bright future in this one, and not just black but green, and I think that's good. That's what we'd expect of a calf that's this young, yet still looks like he's going to continue to head in a really good direction. Already good in his testicle development, great in his running gears, good in his body type and his structure and his framework. Just as he continues to get bigger, I think you'll continue to like him. He still reads like a herd sire. I'm sure lots of seasons of service in that one, irregardless of age or size or weight, still a really deserving champion bull here at the Kentucky State Fair.
And congratulations to your grand champion AOB Bull as well as your Kentucky champion goes to Micah Malone of Cynthiana, Kentucky with MJM All In 622M. And that concludes the open cattle shows for today.